Forsooth, when the 8th day was made, Moses called Aaron and his sons, and the greater men in birth of Israel. And he said to Aaron, Take thou of the drove a calf of sin, and a ram for burnt sacrifice, ever either without wem, and offer thou them before the Lord. And thou shalt speak to the sons of Israel, Take ye a buck of goats for sin, and a calf and a lamb of 1 year, and without wem, into burnt sacrifice, an ox and a ram for peaceable things, and offer ye them before the Lord, and offer ye wheat flour sprinkled with oil in the sacrifice of each of them. For today the Lord shall appear to you. Therefore they took all things which Moses commanded to the door of the tabernacle, where, when all the multitude stood, Moses said, This is the word which the Lord commanded. Do ye it, and his glory shall appear to you. And Moses said to Aaron, Nigh thou to the altar, and offer thou for thy sin. Offer thou burnt sacrifice, and pray for thee, and for the people. When thou hast slain the sacrifice of the people, pray thou for them, as the Lord commanded. And anon Aaron nigh to the altar, and offered a calf for his sin, whose blood his sons offered, or brought to him, in which blood Aaron dipped his finger, and he touched the horns of the altar, and he poured the blood that was left at the fountain of the altar. And he burnt upon the altar the inner fatness, and the little reins, and the caul of the maw, as the Lord commanded to Moses. Forsooth, Aaron burnt with fire without the tents the flesh and the skin thereof. And he offered the beast of burnt sacrifice, and his sons brought to him the blood thereof, which he shedded by compass of the altar. They offered also that sacrifice cut into gobbets, with the head and all the members, and he burnt by fire all these things upon the altar. When the entrails and the feet were washed before with water, and he offered and killed a buck of goats for the sin of the people. And when the altar was cleansed, he made burnt sacrifice, and he added into the sacrifice flowing offerings that be offered together. And he burnt those on the altar without the ceremonies of burnt sacrifice of the morrow tide. He offered also an ox and a ram, peaceable sacrifices of the people. And his sons offered to him the blood, which he poured by compass of the altar. Forsooth, they put it on the breast the inner fatness of the ox, and the tail of the ram, and the little reins with their fatnesses, and the caul of the maw. And when the inner fatnesses were burnt upon the altar, Aaron separated the breast and the right shoulders of them, and raised them before the Lord, as Moses commanded. And he stretched forth his hands to the people and blessed it. And so when the sacrifices for sin and burnt sacrifices and peaceable sacrifices were fulfilled, Aaron came down from the place of sacrificing. Swiftly Moses and Aaron entered into the tabernacle of witnessing, and went out afterward and blessed the people. And the glory of the Lord appeared to all the multitude. And lo, fire went out from the Lord, and devoured the burnt sacrifice, and the inner fatnesses that were upon the altar. And when the companies had seen this thing, they praised the Lord, and fell on their faces.